Let's step through a few networking commands to see how these are used. First, we'll start with rsync. This is a very powerful command that will remotely synchronize a local directory to a remote directory or vice versa. So in this example, we create a data file and then we do rsync archival verbose progress meter, and we take that data file and we push it to our remote Amazon machine. Here it's AWS host 4. This is set up as part of the SSH config, which we did in previous lectures. Importantly, after we send it the first time we send all 4,632 bytes. If we repeat it a second time, much less is sent. And that's one of the awesome parts of rsync. It is an efficient resumer of transfers, and that's really essential if you're working with large files or overslow connections or both. So you should usually use rsync over SCP. So just as an exercise, run these commands and then SSH in and run cat on something.txt while you're SSH into AWS host 4 or whatever you name your alias, just to confirm that that file was uploaded. Okay, so that's rsync. wget, we've used this already a few times. This is, an example of wgetting a file. Here you can wget a web page as well. You can use less to look at that web page. Here is a more advanced example where you can recursively download an entire site. We're putting a wait command over here, recursive, non-ascending to the parent. K and P are more, they're options for like converting links and so on. And you can always do wget -- help to see what the invocations are. So here is wget -- help. And I'll show you all these various flags. You can pipe it to less and then browse up and down like so, just to look at all these flags. So try those out. So that's wget. Whereas wget is a spider, curl is really for interacting with single URLs at a time. It's not going to do the spidering and recursive things that wget can do, but it's really a building block for API calls, among other things. So here's an example. This is an example of actually running an install script. You're pulling it down and then piping it to less in this case. Or in other cases, you would pipe it to sh and then it would actually execute the install script. Here's another really good example which you should walk through. Try these commands out in this order, and what you'll find is that you're basically doing API calls from the command line via curl. And this is the basis of a lot of the stuff we'll do later in the quarter, but allows you to basically test out an API just from the command line. Another command that's very useful is ping. This is just a good way to see first whether you have internet connectivity. If Google is down, then probably the internet is down. And then also checking whether some remote host is up. And so this has a surprisingly large number of options. You can do flood pings, all kinds of interesting things. And this gives an introduction to a few networking commands.